Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, episode 4. We're still sort of jumping around in the timeline and all that. We have now jumped even further back to Maria's point of view again, to her lonely perspective, if you will, with Sakutaro. And this is right after the breakdown with Ange, sort of separating herself from the magic that she was trying to build up with, bringing on the seven sisters, Maria and Sakutaro, and just saying, nope, you guys can't do anything, you're all just figments of my imagination. I have no idea what's going on, honestly. I don't really know what to take away from a lot of this. Obviously, there's a overall point to everything that we're witnessing here, and there's minor points, like we're seeing a whole lot of stuff happening that makes up who Ange is, but what will all of this really come to is my big question.
Maria, 返事して。ウリュ、やっぱり僕はぬいぐるみなの？布と綿でできてるから喋れるわけないの？だからマリアとはおしゃべりできないの？
Sakutaro looked up at Maria sadly. Maria's face was covered with tears, and it looked as though it had even lost all traces of sadness.
聞こえてるよ、サクタロウ。サクタロウは布と綿でできたぬいぐるみなんかじゃないよ。マリアのお友達だよ。
So wait, is this actually happening after the events of the previous video? It has to be. Even so, it looks like we're further in the past.
ウリュ、マリアごめんね。マリアごめんね。ウリュ。
Sakutaro regretted doing that. By freezing her heart, Maria had finally been able to escape from her sadness. By speaking up and calling her back, he had caused her to be overwhelmed with sadness again. Sakutaro tried hugging Maria, letting go of her, and gazing at her uneasily, lost as to how he could bring Maria's spirits up. He might have looked a little humorous doing that. In the end, that was enough to distract Maria from her sadness.
ごめんね。もう泣いても仕方ないもんね。エンジェとは喧嘩しちゃったけど、マリアにはまだたくさん友達がいるよ。僕だけじゃない。みんなもいるよ。サクスケも、サク吉も、動物の音楽隊も、他にも。
Maria looked at the many stuffed animals around her pillow, which were gathered together as though they were having an idle chat.
みんな、マリアのこと心配してるよ。どうしたらマリアが元気になってくれるかなって、ずっと相談しているよ。みんなは、エンジェみたいにいなくならない？ならないよ。僕たちはいつだって一緒だよ。本当に？サクタロたちは家でしか一緒じゃないよ。ママと一緒にお出かけできないし、学校にも一緒に行けないよ。僕たちは学校に行っちゃいけないから、先生に見つかったら怒られちゃうもん。でも、見つからないならいつだって一緒にいていいんだよ。
Okay, wait a minute, what the fuck is happening here? Because, we're talking as if, okay, we are in this time, in this moment of time, right? Before, the family gathering. So, what was all of that? What was all of that with Ange? Is the future just something that Maria is conjuring up in her freaky-ass mind?
サクタロウ、大きいから見つかっちゃうね。だったら、小さくて持ち歩ける子と一緒に行けばいいよ。例えば、ほら、森の音楽隊の仲間たちなら、ほら、小さいからマリアのポケットに隠れて一緒に学校に行けるよ。音楽隊いっぱいいるよ。ポケットに入りきらないよ。
She collected all of the forest band pieces that were scattered across her bed. There were about as many of them as pieces in a chess set, so it'd probably be impossible to fit them all in her pocket.
なら、特に仲良しのお友達だけを連れて行くといいよ。 森の音楽隊の中で一番マリアと仲良しのウサギの4人組を連れてくといいよ。4つならポケットに入る。これなら見つからないね。だからマリアはこれで学校でも一人ぼっちじゃないよ。僕が一緒に行けないところでもこの子たちなら一緒にいてくれるよ。なら寂しくないかも。お家に帰ってくるまで我慢できるかも。ママと先生にさえ見つからなければ僕たちはいつだって一緒にいられるんだよ。そしていつまでも一緒にいよう。遊んでいよう。僕たちはマリアを絶対に一人ぼっちになんかさせないから。うりゃ！
Maria's expression finally regained a little of its brightness. That's right. In the beginning, Maria's world didn't have Ange in it. Even without Ange, it was fun with everyone. And yet, strangely enough, it suddenly became sad without Ange, who had come in at the end. All that's happened is that I've returned to the world right before Ange entered it, so there's nothing to be sad about. Okay, this actually could make some sense because in the previous video, we also saw a different thing, like a different side of things here, where at a family gathering on Rokkenjima, there was a younger Ange that was kind of calling Maria out for thinking that Sakutaro was real and, you know, all of that. So maybe that's what this could actually be about, maybe? That's the only way I can see things kind of connecting together here.
もう人間なんかにマリアの世界には誰も立ち入らせないよ。マリアージュ・ソルシエールはマリアとベアトリーチェだけの二人きりの同盟。もともとベアともエンジェを加えるのには反対してたし、これでいいんだもんね。エンジェはまだ幼すぎたんだよ。エンジェのことはまた仲良しになれるまで当分を忘れていていいと思うよ。マリアがまた元気を取り戻せたら一緒に遊べばいいよ。それまで僕たちみんながずっとそばにいるからね。ありがとう、サクタロ。みんな。
Thank you, all of you inanimate objects that definitely are not talking to me. Then Maria once again regained her former world. She regained the world that wasn't lonely, where she was surrounded by many friends. Just like usual, she didn't have any human friends at school, but her magic friends were always with her. The rabbit band she hid in her pockets talked with her during class, sounding like they were having fun. Just listening to that greatly embellished the time she spent in class. Maria made it so that, as long as Mama and the teacher didn't find out, her other friends could always be with her. When Mama told Maria to go play outside, Maria would secretly pack Sakutaro and what the hell's that name? Sakusuke? Let's go with that. And the rest into her bag and play together at the library or somewhere. Even when Mama was late coming home and Maria went shopping for dinner, she always went with Sakutaro. The man at the convenience store and the other people were nice to Sakutaro. He sometimes gave a second portion free for Maria and Sakutaro. When Mama found out, Maria would get in trouble for bringing Sakutaro and the rest outside. When the teacher found out, Maria would get in trouble for bringing toys to school. The toxin must be strong in Mama and the teacher. That's why Sakutaro looks like a normal stuffed animal to them. After all, the convenience store man and the others say hello to Sakutaro. Not all humans are hopeless. There are tons of people who, well, unlike Ange and Mama and teacher, can say hello to magic friends like I can.
Maria ちゃんかい。いらっしゃい。今夜もママは帰りが遅いのかい？
でもサクタロたちも一緒だから寂しくないの。ねえサクタロ。ウリュウ、今日はね、僕だけじゃないんだよ。他のお友達も一緒なんだよ。
おや、他のお友達かい。今日はどんなお友達が一緒なんだい？
今日はね、森の音楽隊のウサギさんたちも一緒。ほら、ポケットに入ってるの。
Maria began to line up 4 ceramic rabbit dolls on the register. As the owner of the shop looked at it, smiling, he sent a signal to a part-timer with his chin. Then the signal on the other register that said close was taken down, and a voice called out for everyone to move over there. All of the people in line behind Maria lined up behind that one.
そうかそうか。マリアちゃんにはお友達がいっぱいだね。ママも早く帰ってきてくれればいいのに。
ママはまたお仕事が忙しくて会社にお泊まりなの。
Yeah, I really wonder about all that still.
最近は
I
よ
haven't
く
forgotten.
忙しくなるの。マリアと電話でお話しする時間も全然取れない。でも寂しくないよ。マリアにはサクタルたちがいるもん。ねえ。うりゅう。ウサギの音楽隊のみんなも一緒だもん。ほら、キューキュー。
ウサギの鳴き声ってキューキューだったっけ？はて、そういや聞いたことないな。
Yeah, I didn't even know rabbits made sounds. After smiling at Sakutaro, who was poking his head out of her knapsack, she played around with the rabbit band on the register, making them frolic around. You know, good on the guy behind the register here for, you know, entertaining her. You know, just obviously none of this is real. This is all in her head, right? But that's how kids are. You know, they think their stuffed animals are real friends, or maybe they have an imaginary friend of some sort. When the adult is willing to, you know, play along a little, so long as it isn't like so intrusive, then yeah, it's all good. Plus there was another register, another guy, so that the flow can keep on going, and you know, there's no sad child here. Although the shop manager gazed at this pleasantly, he had slightly pitying look on his face. This was apparently a single mother household where the mother had to work hard and couldn't come home very often. On top of that, it looked like this girl didn't even have any friends. As he watched her play around happily with her dolls and claimed that she wasn't lonely despite everything, he couldn't help but feel a kind of compassion. And actually, that wasn't limited to him alone. Maria had become quite famous in the shopping district.
マリアちゃん、たまにはおでんも食べなさい。卵とか練り物とか食べないと大きくなれないよ。
クリームパンじゃダメ？ウリュウ、いろいろ食べないと大きくなれないよ。今日はおでんにしよう。じゃあおでんにする。
そうしなさい。おじさんが多めに入れておくよ。からしいる？
ウリュウ、辛いのは苦手。
そうかそうか。じゃあこぼさないように持って帰りな。温かいうちが美味しいよ。
ありがとう。
She had planned on getting some sweet pastries for dinner, but since Odin had been recommended to her, she would be having that tonight instead. Letting someone else determine the menu makes for an unexpected and an interesting meal. Very often, Maria had to decide what her dinner would be on her own, so it was easy for the menus to get a little one-sided. So it felt fun to have a meal she hadn't anticipated. I'd say, like, yay, she's making the most of it, but, like, this is still kind of sad. Like, I'm still on Anja's side
お家に
here.
いる他のお友達にもよろしくね。途中でつまみ食いしちゃダメだよ。まっすぐお家へ帰ってから食べるんだよ。
おじさん、ありがとう。
Maria raised the bag with the Odin container high. I do wonder, is it such a good idea that Maria is becoming, you know, famous in the shopping district? What the fuck?
あれ、ウリュウ、どうしたの、マリア？ポケットに鍵がない。
Standing in front of the door to her house, Maria searched all over her body. The key to the house wasn't there. She always methodically put it in the same pocket, so there was no way she had put it in another pocket, but she searched her whole body just in case. Unsurprisingly, it wasn't there.
お財布を出した時に落とした？お財布を出してしまう時にはちゃんと手応えがあったもん。途中でポケットを探った時にもちゃんと手応えがあった。途中まではあったの。落としてなんかいない。
I really wouldn't trust your certainty here, your sense of certainty, because again, you are talking to a stuffed animal. Even though the late autumn wind had been, you know, bearable when Maria had been thinking of returning home, where the heater was, now that she was confused and had lost her key, that wind tormented her. But no matter how hard she searched, she couldn't find her key. She turned out all her pockets and even tried taking off her jacket and hitting it, but to no avail. Of course, she also turned the knapsack Sakutaro was in upside down, but the key didn't come out. Something that should have been there wasn't where it was supposed to be. Why isn't the key there? When I didn't do anything wrong. Why isn't it? Why? Why? Maria was cold and frustrated and angry, and she stamped on the ground. The bottom of her foot throbbed, but that didn't lessen her frustration. At the same time, her tears poured out. It wasn't her fault, so it was someone else's fault. But Maria didn't know who that someone was and could do nothing but continue to let out a moan of anger.
ウリュウ、きっと途中で落としたんだよ。探そう。来た道を戻って探そう。せっかくおでん買ったのに、卵とかおまけしてもらったのに、あったかいうちに食べられない。
Can't you just reheat it? I know it's not going to be that great, but it's not the end of the world.
誰も悪くないよ。
But the main goal is, getting it back into the house so that she can reheat it. Maria finally lent an ear to Sakutaro's words and began to trot back down the road she had come on. The wind was colder than before, and it felt like it was blowing in through the corners of her jacket in a mean way.
ウリュウ、しっかり足元を見て探そう。そして早くお家に帰って暖房で温まりながらおでんを食べよう。きっと美味しいよ。ない。
As Sakutaro encouraged her, Maria searched for the key. But she made it all the way back to the convenience store where she had bought the Odin. She hadn't found it. Just in case, she asked the man at the convenience store whether they had found a dropped key, but they hadn't found anything. One more time, she returned home, paying close attention to the area around her feet. But unsurprisingly, she didn't find it. She was no longer frustrated enough to stomp her feet. But hot tears dripped down her face. The Odin had cooled down completely. Even though she had been told it would be delicious when warm, she hadn't been able to eat it. Even though the man had given her so much free stuff.
ウリュウ、泣かないで。ママは今夜帰ってこないんだよ。頑張って探そう。なんで見つからないの？
Could she have locked herself out of the house?
マリア、泣かないで。頑張って探そう。マリア。
We have a closed room situation. The key is in the house, but we're outside of the house. Maria was no longer able to hold back her tears. Sobbing, she clutched Sakutaro and held the bag of Odin, returning once more down the road that she had come by. Perhaps because more and more houses and stores had turned their lights off by now, it was even darker and harder to search than before. And once again, without finding the key, she returned to the convenience store.
マリアちゃん、鍵まだ見つからないのかい？
鍵ない。
お母さん、今日は泊まりだっけ？鍵ないとお家入れないの？
入れない。
そりゃ困ったね。交番には行ってみた。届いてるかもしれないよ。
ママがおまわりさんに話しかけられてもお話ししちゃダメって言った。
That is extremely suspicious.
そりゃまたどうして？
I don't think it's necessarily, I don't know about the legality of it here, but like, it's not really a good thing to just leave your child unattended. It was probably because Rosa would be liable for making such a young girl like Maria watch over the house by herself, and because she knew that this wasn't something that would be permitted by society. So Maria was indoctrinated into changing the stores that she bought things at so that she didn't catch the eye of adults, and into saying no more than a greeting to policemen, even if they talked to her. Maria had obediently done as she was told. Instead of considering why she must do that, well, she was much more concerned with meekly obeying because her mother had told her so. But the manager of the convenience store probably didn't think of it that way. In the first place, seeing such a young girl being forced to watch over the house alone and so frequently would make anyone worry. And then, after making the round trip between her home and the store once more, and arriving at the convenience store for a third time, a policeman was there.
あの子です。マリアちゃん、鍵見つかったかい？
見つからない。
お嬢ちゃん、お名前は？
The policeman asked her name, but Maria didn't answer.
お母さんにおまわりさんとお話ししちゃいけないって言われてるの？大丈夫だよ。おじさんは怖くないよ。お嬢ちゃんは晩ご飯は食べた？
買ったけど、お家に入れないから、食べられない。
お母さんはどうしてるの？今日は帰ってこないの？お仕事？お母さんの会社の連絡先、わかる？
Maria hung her head limply. She didn't understand why the policeman was getting mad at her. No, he probably wasn't getting mad at her, but if this reached her mother's ears, well, then she would definitely be in trouble. Even if she didn't understand the reason why she would be in trouble, she at least understood that much. But the policeman wouldn't let Maria go, and her head was swimming from hunger. The policeman noticed that, and it was decided that he had listened to her story as they ate in the police box. Maria was taken to the police box. She had her oden heated in a microwave oven, and even salty rice cakes and hot tea were brought out for her. She had been told not to talk to policemen, but after being asked about Sakutaro, she responded, starting to feel that this wasn't a bad person. Yep. Nope. I see what's going on here. I mean, it's such it's a very simple, trick. It's a good move here. I mean, the thing is, we all know Rosa's in the wrong here. Whatever she's doing, work or whatever else, no, she's leaving her child alone. And, that is not right. I mean, come on. And anyway, she wouldn't be able to return home now, so she didn't know what to do. She told him Mama's work phone number, which she had been told to tell no one of and to use only in a very, very serious situation. In the tatami room inside the police box, she ate the oden that was so hot it felt like it would burn her. She watched the policeman making the phone call, lazily thinking, I'm probably gonna get in trouble.
Maria, Mama ni okorareru kana?
Oh, fuck yeah. 100%. Oh, I've seen this scene before. He must have been listening to the phone ringing for a very long time. With the receiver up to his ear, the policeman looked up at the clock, grumbling. 営業時間終えちゃってるから出ないのかな。
もしもし、有限会社アンチローザさんで。こちら、小松川警察署千本桜駅前交番でございます。右大官じゃないや、Ushiromiya社長さんはいらっしゃいますか?
Oh, okay. I see why that's highlighted green. I have an idea about all that there. All right. So, oh wait, no, okay, I'm fucking wrong. It's just a misreading. Okay, never mind. The officer mistook the last kanji, Miya, for kan, and this would also have caused him to pick the wrong reading for that due to the existence of the word daikon. Okay, there we go. I thought that it was a different last name.
Hey, 休暇中?
No. I was right? Oh my god, bro. What the fuck? Oh man, there's no redeeming Rosa like this, guys. There's just no redeeming Rosa. I fucking knew it. Oh my god. No fucking way, man.
いや。それで、どちらにおられるかわかりますかね？連絡先とか聞いてたりしませんかね？
ちょっとお待ちいただいてよろしいですか？ねえ、誰か社長の旅行先聞いてる？連絡先。
彼氏と札幌カニ食い放題って聞きました。
Oh my god, dude.
いいな。寒いとこだと
自然と二人の距離も縮まるのよね。
Okay. To my fellow receptionists, or fellow office workers, or fellow, if you have a brain, if you're going to talk to somebody else in the room, in the background, whatever, there's this cool fucking function on your phone to put the call on hold. And if this was during a time when you couldn't necessarily do that, which I think it was, you just cover the damn part of the phone, you know, where you speak to, and then you very quietly talk to the other people so that doesn't get picked up so easily.
連絡先は聞いてないよ。了解。もしもし、札幌に行ってるそうですけど、連絡先まではちょっとわかりません。ご伝言しますか？
そうですか。参ったな。じゃあ、もし連絡がつきましたら、こちらから電話があったとお伝えできますか？はい。
Guys, I am so fucking disappointed. I'm so fucking upset. After that, I was taken to the police department, which was even bigger, and ended up spending the night there. Then they asked me various things about myself. A lady who called herself the district welfare officer came by and asked about a lot of things, and I was told, "You poor thing." When I heard that, I learned for the first time.
マリアってかわいそうだったの？ウリュウ、そんなことないよ。マリアは幸せ。ほー。
Yeah, Sodoko was happy too in episode 3. Or I guess that's a chapter 3. Totally. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yep. Alright. Yep, vacation ruined, huh, Rosa? Vacation just unfortunately ruined. And then Rosa came back. Maria was told to go to her room. But on her way back from the bathroom, she hid by the entrance of the living room and listened in on the exchange. The person who had come to visit was the female district welfare officer who had asked Maria various questions on that other day.
そういう押し付けは困ります。マリアは心が純粋すぎて繊細だから、無神経な子がいたら傷つけられてしまうんです。余計なおせっかいはやめてください。
でもね、お母さん、そんなに繊細な子なら、なんで一人で家に放置しておくの？
She's got a point.
お母さんが一緒にいてあげるべきなんじゃないですか？
なるべく一緒にいるようにしています。そんなこと、あなたに指図される覚えはありません。
そうですか？この辺のご近所ではとても有名ですよ。お宅のお嬢さんが夜、頻繁に買い物や食事に来るって。みんな気にしてて、気を使ってくれてたんですよ。
どうしてうちの子だとわかるんですか？子供なんて街中にいくらでもいるじゃないですか。
Hey, I doubt it.
勝手にうちのマリアだと決めつけないでください。夜に出歩く子供だってたまにはいるでしょう。それらが全てうちの子だという証拠でもあるんですか？
ライオンのぬいぐるみを抱いた女の子がよく夕食を食べに来る商店街でもとても有名だったんですよ。
Yeah, really got her to, all singled out there, huh?
みんなマリアちゃんのことを思って大切にしてくれてました。時には夜道は危ないからと自宅まで送ってくれる方もいたんですよ。
ライオンのぬいぐるみなんてどこにでもあります。
Rosa, you are digging.
自宅まで送るなんて余計なお世話です。マリアを誘拐するつもり？マリアに構わないで。マリアは私の子です。私が育ててます。おかしな施設に入れるつもりもまるでありません。余計なおせっかいはやめて。
ウリュウ、ライオンのぬいぐるみって僕のこと？大丈夫だよ。怒られるのはマリアだよ。サクタロは関係ないよ。
Maria hugs Sakutaro, continuing to watch her mother fearfully.
私もマリアと毎日一緒にいられたらと思います。
Which is why you went on a 3-day vacation?
でもシングルマザーですから働かなくちゃならない。私はこう見えても会社の社長ですから社員の生活も背負っている。一年中仕事で忙しいんですよ。休む暇だってないんです。
So you couldn't have rested with your child?
そう？でもこの3日間お休みだったんでしょ？
休みなんかじゃありません。 私はずっと会社で泊まりがけで仕事をしていました。他の頼りない社員では片付けられない案件が私には山積みなんです。
どうしてそんな嘘つくの？あなたの会社の人が3日間お休みを取ってますって言ってるのよ。彼氏さんと北海道に行ってきたんでしょ？娘さんを3日間も置いて。
彼氏なんて知りません。北海道なんて知りません。どうしてそんなデタラメ言うの？どうしてなんか証拠でもあるの？何よあんた、勝手に人の家のことに口を出さないでよ。
I think it's literally her job to, like, you know, in order to protect children that are in need, to butt in on someone else's family matters.
私はマリアを愛してるのよ。私には私なりの愛し方があるのよ。勝手に口出さないでよ。私は旅行になんて行ってないわよ。仕事してたのよ、ずっと。マリアに1秒でも早く会いたくて、仕事を少しでも早く片付けようと一生懸命会社に泊まり込んで、ずっと知らない、北海道なんて知らないわよ。勝手なこと言わないで。
Okay. Alright.
もう帰ってよ。何なのよあんたは。帰って。
Damn. I haven't fucking heard that type of, you know, screaming and shouting since Higurashi, when people were going, you know, batshit crazy. Rosa raged, her hair flying wildly. A teacup was knocked over from the force of her standing up, but far louder than that was the sound of her beating the table with both hands. When faced with this rage that could accurately be described as wide-eyed derangement, the district welfare officer couldn't help but be taken aback. Well, yeah, there's a crazy woman in front of her. And the same went for Maria, who was secretly watching this from the hallway. She had already seen her mother in a rage several times before this, but she had never seen her this crazed with anger. When she saw this, Maria was sure this was no longer her mother. It was some other evil being that was possessing her mother's body. Oh, to be young. And then, she herself was discovered by the evil being. Maria knew that she was being reflected in the evil being's eyes. Her mind went blank, and she felt as though her field of vision was racing off into the distance. After fiercely closing in on Maria, Rosa mercilessly slapped her on her small shoulders, and dropped her gaze towards the stuffed animal Maria was holding, Sakutaro.
マリア、あなた、あれだけお外にそれを持って行っちゃダメって言ったのに、持って行ったのね。
ウリュウ、マリアは悪くないよ。僕がついていくって言ったの。違うよ。マリアが寂しいから勝手にサクタロを連れてったの。だからママ、サクタロは悪くないの。ウリュウ、マリア、サクタロは悪くないよ。サクタロは悪くないよ。
Instead of Maria, the brunt of Rosa's anger was aimed at the lion stuffed animal Maria was holding. We're about to... This fucking stuffed animal is about to not exist anymore, I'm assuming. A girl went shopping in the middle of the night, always clutching a lion stuffed animal. Because of that, she had become well known in the shopping center.
ぬいぐるみ持ってっちゃダメって言ったでしょ。
Is the officer still here?
どうして
Is she still here?
あんたはママの言うことが聞けないのよ。どうしてよ。どうしてママの言いつけがちゃんと守れないのよ、あんたは。
With every single word, she stamped her heel and banged furiously on the wall. Of course, she didn't make direct contact with Maria. However, the violence of the harsh sounds certainly beat against her. Okay, yeah, she is still here. She's making things way worse for her. The district welfare officer had come back to her senses and was pinning Rosa's arms behind her back. But the instant Rosa was touched, she went wild, furiously throwing the welfare officer off. She hit the table and fell to the ground. A teacup on the table smashed on the floor, making a violent sound.
マリアは悪くないよ。僕が悪いの。だか からマリアを叱らないで。サク太郎を連れてったのはマリア。サク太郎は悪くないの。サク太郎は悪くないの。だからサク太郎をそんな怖い目で見ないで。見ないで。マリアを叱らないで。マリアを叱らないで。うりゅー。
あんたさっきから何をやってるの？あんたそのお人形さんごっこ外でもやってたの？お店の人の前でもやってたの？だから覚えられちゃうんでしょ？少しは考えろこのバカ。
Oh my god.
なんであんたは
What
そう
the
大
fuck?
バカなのよ。
What is she saying that to her child?
正直におっしゃいな。お外でお買い物をするとき、ママに内緒でいつもそのぬいぐるみを持ち歩いてたのね。
うりゅう。
その変なぬいぐるみ語をやめなさい。ぬいぐるみじゃなくあなたの言葉で喋りなさい。
サク太郎はぬいぐるみじゃないよ。マリアの友達だよ。ぬいぐるみって言わないで。言わないで。
はいはい、わかったわ。サク太郎だったわね、名前。ママに内緒でそのサク太郎人形を持っていつもお買い物に行っていたのね。
Maria admitted it honestly. If she hadn't admitted it, then Sakutaro would have said something to take the blame. So by admitting it right away, she was protecting her small friend.
サク太郎だけ？他には？まさか学校にも何か変なのを持って行ってるんじゃないでしょうね。
Haha, well.
お母さん、お嬢さんは悪くないでしょう。そのキスもおやめなさい。
あんたは黙ってなさい。私と娘の話でしょ。ほらマリア、ママの目を見て話をしなさい。ママの質問にお返事は？
サク太郎だけじゃないの。ウサギのみんなも一緒。
今も持ってるの？
おう。
Maria fished around in her pockets, pulling out 4 ceramic rabbits with her tiny hand. The rabbits were her close friends, who could be together with her at school in Sakutaro's place. But when Rosa saw that, she shook her head slightly as though dizzy. On a school notice, it had been written that Maria was apparently bringing toys to school and playing with them. Alright, school notice. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Communication booklet. A communication booklet is a notebook which elementary schoolers in Japan take to school with them, used as a short message communication tool between parents and teachers. For instance, the students will be told to write down information that parents need to know about the next day of classes. Parents can use them to keep teachers informed of lost items, health issues, or request that their child skips a gym class. And because children tend to go to school in groups, notices of absence or lateness can also be written in them and the booklet handed to the group. Okay, that's not what I thought, but that's pretty interesting. And her family was instructed to try and prevent this. But Rosa had rejected that, blaming the teacher and phoning in a protest of her own to the school, saying that there was no way her child would bring toys to school. For nearly an hour, she had shouted at the vice principal to stop making false accusations about her daughter. To a certain degree, those at the school had grasped that Maria was a pitiful girl. They knew that the small toys she brought in were her only friends, so they had done their best to overlook it. But when the other students caught sight of them, some of the boys had started complaining that only she could bring toys, and the school had racked their brains on how to cope with this. They had tried to gently send a warning by way of the mother, but after Rosa's overreaction, even Maria's teacher decided to overlook it. But now Rosa knew. She had been the one who was wrong, and her daughter really had been bringing toys to school. And those at the school had known that she was a disgrace who brought toys to school and played with them as though they were her only friends. To Rosa, who thought her daughter was just a little different than normal children, having this peculiar side of her daughter exposed and found fault with was, more than anything, something she could not bear. So she howled. She raged. The district welfare officer tried to cut between Rosa and Maria again, but she only met with Rosa's wrath once more. Rosa once again threw the woman off with a face like a demon, And when even that failed to curb her anger, she stomped on the ground over and over again so forcefully that it seemed she might break through the floor. Then, after seeming to come back to her senses for a second, she immediately froze her harsh breathing, and asked Maria,
マリア、そのウサギの音楽隊はマリアの大切なお友達？そう、4人もお友達がいてよかったわ。
As she said that, Rosa grabbed one of the rabbits from Maria's hand. Then she shoved it in front of Maria's eyes so that she could see it very well. The cute rabbit holding a trumpet was a small doll like a chess piece. She slowly lifted it into the air. Of course, Maria's and Sakutaro's eyes also followed it. And then, with a speed that the eye could not follow, she smashed it against the wall. She had half imagined that this worst possible thing might happen, so she instantly realized what had been done. So Maria let out a short, despairing scream. It was in pieces. Why are we getting the blood splatter fucking bit here? It had been small and sturdy, and that hadn't been enough to withstand her mother's fierce rage.
ママの言うことをちゃんと聞かないから、今後ママの言うことを守らないたびにまた一つ壊すからね。
Well, that's not healthy.
覚えておきなさい。
あなた、そんなことするなんて母親ですか？
How does she like not lose the ability to raise her child from all of this?
そんなことしてお嬢さんが傷つかないと思ってるんですか？
マリアが傷つく？私も傷ついているのよ。私の傷は誰が責任取ってくれるのよ。誰が？あんたは黙っててって言ってるでしょ。
やめてママ、悪いのはマリア。おばさんを怒らないで。マリアは悪くないよ、僕が悪いの。マリアを怒らないで。うりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅう。
そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ったでしょ。
Well, rest in peace, Sakutaro.
大体ね、気持ち悪いのよ。ぬいぐるみがお友達ってあんた今年でいくつよ。何歳よ。こんなの布と綿の気持ち悪い下手くそなぬいぐるみじゃない。こんなのしか友達いないのあんた。こんな化け物のぬいぐるみとお友達ごっこしてる暇があったらちゃんとした人間の友達を作りなさいよ。なんであなたにはいつまでもお友達ができないのよ。そうなんだからいつまでもクラスで変わり者扱いされてバカにされて、もうほんとしっかりして。こんなぬいぐるみ遊びもう卒業しちゃってよ。
うりゅうりゅう。
だからそのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ってるでしょ。
ママ返して、サキタロ返して。うりゅうりゅうりゅう。
Oh boy. Mama grabbed hold of Sakutaro's head and took him from me. Then she smashed him against the wall over and over. Just rip it apart already.
やめろ。
Oh, wow. Jesus fucking Christ.
そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろっつってんでしょ。こんなぬいぐるみがあるから。だからあんたはいつまでも友達を作らないのよ。だから一人だけクラスで浮いてておかしな子扱いされるんでしょうが。
I don't know about you guys, but Rose is making my blood pressure rise.
こんなぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。こんな気持ち悪いぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。やめて。サクタロ返して、サクタロ返して。サクタロはマリアのお友達なの。親友なの。サクタロさえいれば他には何もいらない。だから返して。返して。
For some reason, my frantic request just added oil to the fire of Mama's anger. Mama pushed my arm aside as I tried to grab Sakutaro and snatch him back. and in a bizarre way, she stuck her fingernails on both hands deep into Sakutaro, twisting him. The red muffler, which I had carefully wrapped for him every day, came off and fell to the floor. Sakutaro, who had been so precious to me, was twisted, smashed, torn at with fingernails so much. He was twisted in pain, his face curving in sadness. Then Mama's fingernails found a stitch on the neck and tore it. With the fingernails of both hands, she tore it apart. Again, we don't need the blood splatter screen here. We really don't. In that instant, Sakutaro's yellow cloth and the cotton inside burst apart. It looked almost like moist cotton candy. Again, rest in peace, Sakutaro. The crumpled yellow cloth and the cotton candy flowing out were thrust right in front of my eyes. Then through Mama's face, the evil being stated it clearly. No way it fucking did that, bro. No way it actually just fucking did that. There's no way. I just heard that. Oh my fucking god. You've gotta be kidding me. What the fuck? Okay. Well, Lady Maria's pure white heart torn asunder. His broken vessel can only be regenerated by Rosa, the Meister who made him. However, Rosa disposed of all the vessel's scraps and even lost the sewing pattern. On top of this, because his existence was denied by the Meister herself, resurrecting him is impossible. With the Meister's death in 1986, his resurrection was lost forever. Resurrecting him is impossible even for the endless witch Beatrice. Wow. What the fuck? Huh? What the fuck? What is this? What is this saying? I'm assuming it's crying and sobbing, maybe. Maybe, I don't know.
Maria.
Hello, Beatrice.
Sakutaro は良き友人であった。そなたがそれを忘れぬ限り、常にそなたと共にある。だから、泣くんでない。
生き返らせて。ベアとはいろんな魔法が使えるんだもんね。
Come on, Maria, didn't you just read the fucking tips? It said right there in his character log.
それは無論サク太郎がわらわの家具だったなら、しかしサク太郎はそなたの家具だ。わらわにそれは難しい。難しいってことは無理じゃないんだよね。生き返らせて。無限の魔法で生き返らせて。実はな、サク太郎のよりしろはローザの手作りのぬいぐるみであったろ。そのローザがサク太郎を否定した。母にその生を許されなかった命は存在できぬのだ。
Beatrice's words were feeble, because she knew that no matter what the excuse, it wouldn't be enough to calm Maria and make her accept it. But she had to communicate the painful truth to her disciple and close friend. She had to tell her the fact that even with all of her own power, even she could not revive Sakutaro.
そなたがサク太郎の存在を強く信じる限り、その魂が消え去ることはない。だからマリア、どうか悲しむな。今もほら、すぐそこでサク太郎が微笑んでいると信じるのだ。やだやだやだやだサク太郎を生き返らせてくれなきゃ。やだやだやだやだ。諦めよ。サク太郎を蘇らせる魔法はない。そしてそれでもなおサク太郎がそなたの親友であり続けることを強く信じよ。その力が魔法となる。
そんなの魔法じゃない魔法じゃないサク太郎が生き返らなきゃ嫌だママの手作りだからダメなのどうしてママはサク太郎を作ったのマリアにプレゼントするためじゃないのマリアのお友達にするためじゃないのなのになんでママは自分で作って自分で壊したのどうしてママは自分で産んで自分で壊そうとするのわかんないわかんないママが憎いよママが憎い
Yes, let that fuel, let that hatred fuel the dark side or whatever. Become a witch or whatever.
ママをねじり上げてやりたい爪を立てて引き裂いて布地と綿にしてやりたい
Okay, well, that could be foreshadowing. Some really twisted foreshadowing.
悔しいよベアトリーチェサク太郎
From the darkness behind Maria's back, two massive jet black arms crept out, twisting around Maria as she sobbed in anger. Then massive fingernails stuck into Maria's chest and stomach. Maria could not see that, but Beato could. Anger and sadness without any place to go will tear you apart. Beato knew it. She could see it. Yeah, in the end, those massive arms were Maria's own. Those fingernails slowly started to eat into her chest and stomach. With their immense size and strength, those arms could probably tear Maria into bits easily. But Maria herself couldn't notice. Drowning in a sea of her own tears, she couldn't notice that her own arms were trying to tear apart her own chest.
悔しい悔しいサク太郎がどうしても生き返らせられないならマリアは復讐したいママを同じ目に合わせてやりたいサク太郎と同じ目に合わせてやりたいのベアトリーチェそのための魔法を教えてママをやっつける魔法を教えて
その言葉は本心か。
ママを殺してやる、あれはママじゃないよママに取り付いた悪い魔女だママの魔女を殺してやる
よかろうその力をそなたに与えよう
Interesting.
心美しきそなたが自らに引き裂かれるくらいならそなたにその苦しみを与えた心なき母こそが教えようぞ魔女の世界に光さすことなき深淵の奥底
サク太郎みんな嫌い大嫌いママも嫌いエンジェも嫌いみんな大嫌い
All right. Yeah, where will this lead things, you know? What the fuck's happening? I swear, you know, when they were making this game, they really got trigger happy with some of the sound effects. And we're right back to the future. What the fuck? I had planned on taking a nap, but the boat really was shaking bad. Oh, are we going to the island? That's exciting. I gave up on sleeping and went up onto the deck. There I was welcomed by the shining sun and a strong sea breeze. Oh, hello. Amakusa had been doing some stretches on the deck. He must have a lot of time on his hands too. After all, it'll be several more hours before we reach Nijima. It would only have taken a couple dozen minutes by airplane, but there was the chance that the Nijima airport was under the Sumadera family's web. The harbor would probably be the same. For that reason, I had obtained a boat that would let me land while avoiding the harbor, no questions asked. I had bumped into a cheery boat captain, treated him generously, and he had decided to help me out amused.
まだだいぶかかるの
さっき船長に聞いたら、あと2時間はたっぷりかかるそうです。
Yeah, that's not so bad.
ま、贅沢は言えねえですな。
いいお天気ね焼けちゃいそう
甲板で読書ですか？本が傷みますよ。
Amakusa apparently thought this because I was clutching Maria One-chan's diary under my arm. I had been reading it half asleep, which is why I had come back up still clutching it.
どうですか？マリアさんの日記からロッケン島の真相は探れそうですかい？
さあ、あの島で何があったかなんてどこまで調べても仮説でしかない。メッセージボトルもお姉ちゃんの日記も魔女が闊歩するおとぎ話が記されているだけでお手上げよ。
新島での関係者からの聞き込みに期待するしかないですね。
ウィッチハンターどもが散々質問攻めにしてるでしょうから、きっと真事実なんて見つからないわよ。
そこまで期待してないのに半日も船旅をして新島に行こうなんて実に気まぐれなことです。
調べたっていう自己満足のための旅みたいなものよ。本気で12年前の真実が解き明かせるなんて私も甘えてるつもりはないわ。
But you never know what we'll find there, honestly.
その自己満足が終わったらどうするつもりで？
さあ、考えてないわ。新島に行って関係者に話を聞いて最後に六軒島に行って花でも捧げたら私の旅はおしまいね。
Several days have already passed since the journey had began. After being told by Bernkenstill on the roof of that building to search for the truth of 12 years ago, I'd left on a journey like trying to grasp a cloud. At the time, I felt as though I had experienced something mystical, and had been feeling that I might be able to grasp some kind of miracle at the end of this journey. But after several days had passed, my excitement died down. On that day, when I stood on the roof of that skyscraper, my heart was completely cornered and dead. So I had wanted from the bottom of my heart to be released from the cage of my body and rise into the sky, and had crossed the fence in order to die. Maybe experiencing the desire to die and actually stepping forwards, throwing my body down, caused some kind of mystical experience inside my head, making me think I had received a message from a witch. The excitement from my jump lessened over time, and the more I came back to my senses, the more this journey lost its meaning. But I didn't even consider suspending this journey just because of that. If I stop this journey, it'll mean acknowledging that the message from that witch was an illusion, and I felt as though that meant throwing away the promise the witch made, and any chance that someone from my family might come back. So because it was hard to believe that those events were an illusion, I've continued on my journey. I don't seriously believe that this journey will change anything. It's even up to me when to end this journey. It's up to me to choose where the final destination is. In the end, this journey is only for my self-satisfaction. No, that makes sense. To a degree.
聞こえは悪いですが、そいつが実は人生ってやつではないかと思ってます。
傭兵家業で視線をくぐった末に至った答えだったなら、なかなか味わい深いじゃない。
茶化さんでください。俺が言いたいのは、自己も何も自分を認められるのは世の中で自分だけしかいないってことです。
Amakusa continued stretching as he spoke, in an irritatingly fresh way. Hearing it told me to stop, or told me as though from a teacher made me instinctively want to resist. But what he was saying was extremely sensible.
そうかもね。人は誰かに認められたくて努力をするわ。多くの場合、それは親ね。親に褒められたくて子供は努力を覚える。だから私は覚えなかったわけだけど。
すんません。そういうつもりで言ったんじゃないです。俺が言いたいのは、自己満足大いに結構ってことなんです。誰に褒められたって、それを納得できなきゃ意味がない。逆を返しゃ、誰に褒められなくったって、自分が納得できりゃそれでいいってことです。
自己満足と向上心って矛盾するから、普通は悪いことって教えられるわよね。天草の論法はなんだか新鮮よ。
誰かに認めてほしくて、だけれど何を努力すればいいのかわからないのが人の世の苦しみです。俺にもそういう頃があった。誰かに認められたくて、でも何を認められればいいかわからなくて、そして 何をどこまで努力すれば誰に認めてもらえるかわからなくて、随分と無茶苦茶をやってきたもんです。
それで天草が至った答えが自己満足だっていうの？
聞こえは悪いがそういうことです。我ただ樽を知るってやつですわ。俺がこれでいいと思った人生なら、それはとやかく言われてどうこうってもんじゃない。エンジェさんの人生もこの旅も同じです。エンジェさん以外の誰にもとやかく言う権利なんてない。旅の意味と成果はエンジェさんだけが決める。エンジェさんにとって有意義な旅になったなら、それで十分なんですよ。
あんたってちゃらけてる男だと思ってたけど、たまに変なこと言い出すのね。そういうことたまに言うとモテると思ってるでしょ。
まさかまさか、そんなつもりで言ったんじゃありません。どうやらお一人になりたいようだ。俺は船長のところへ行っていますぜ。どうぞごゆっくり。
Hey, you got to read the room pretty well there. Amakusa apparently decided I was in a bad mood, although I didn't feel that way myself. Or he might have finished a set of stretches and wanted to cool off in the shade. The sea winds were strong, but not enough to cool the rays of the sun. Amakusa disappeared. Only I remained.
自己満足こそが人生か。
Oh.
そんなのつまらないです。
Oh, hello, Mamoon. So, I guess we're still friends with you. I don't know where the fuck we are in all of this. We keep jumping around, and honestly, the more I try to think about it from Maria's her perspective of this whole situation, none of it makes a fucking lick of sense. Anyways, we'll wrap it up there. I think we made some good progress, maybe. I don't know. But what a wild recording session this was. I wasn't really sure what to expect. Somebody in the comments of the previous video told me, like, get ready for Maria in this one or whatever, like, this is going to be a tough one. I didn't know what they meant. How could I brace myself? What could I expect? Absolutely nothing. To expect this, I couldn't. There were a lot of signs leading up to this. I didn't think it'd go in that sort of direction. I really didn't. Goddamn. I will say this, though, guys. I gotta make it clear. Maria is one annoying-ass character, and I think I've made that pretty obvious that I just don't really like her because of just... I mean, the weird side of her is pretty interesting, but, like, her just annoying side is annoying. Kids in general can be pretty annoying, I will admit. But I don't hate her. It's not like I want her to disappear and die like a gruesome death or anything, no. I will say it is absolutely terrible what her mother does to her. Like, that is just awful. And seeing it all kind of like, come to this point, it's like, how did this continue whatsoever? How is she still able to be a mother to Maria? It is just insane to me. So, I definitely do not want to see this sort of stuff happen to Maria. Rosa definitely deserves some, maybe death penalty, I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm definitely not trying to root for her to like yeah, she has to, go through all this shit. No, definitely not. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.